Hi, welcome. I'm Tom, your host, and this is the DROPCAST Movie Poster Podcast Release Edition. We have again a special edition of the Release Podcast, and that is with my good friend and fellow Poster Posse member, Doaly. He had to wait for such a long time for this release because the movie has been pushed and pushed and pushed. But now it's finally time to reveal what he has in store, so you better stay tuned and head over to our Instagram profile at DropMakerOfficial to follow along with the art we are talking about, or check us out on YouTube for the video version. Doaly, how you doing, my man?
Hey Tom, doing well. Thanks for the invite. Yeah,
Of course, man. It's been a pleasure. You've been talking about this release for quite some time, so I know what you had in store. I hadn't seen like the final results, just some ideas, but the time has finally come to show us what this is all about. Are you happy that this is happening?
yeah. It's because like the original we worked on this with Bottleneck, and this was last year because we originally, I think the film was supposed to come out last December.
Yeah, by the way, that's Wonder Woman, people, because we didn't say that yet.
Yeah, we're talking about Wonder Woman, 1984. So yeah, so artwork and everything else was kind of geared up to be released last year, and then we've had different pushes and so forth. So yeah, it's nice to finally this is going to see the light of day, because it's like, I know some projects like we all work on, they can take months to come out, but this one was one of those ones like, is this ever going to come out, especially with lockdown and COVID?
Yeah.
And is the release going to be pushed now to 2021 was one of the thoughts we were having. So finally, when a few months back they said, yep, it's coming out Christmas Day, it's coming out on streaming and theater, I was like, okay. Like I emailed Joe straight away. It's like, they've given a solid date. We've got a date. He goes, great. I'm gonna schedule it in, and we're gonna push it out.
I mean, you're not new to the Wonder Woman universe and the DC universe in general. You had in 2017, I think it was also a timed edition, right, with Bottleneck Gallery as well, for the Wonder Woman piece, which is my wallpaper on my phone. I have it basically. If you unlock it, you can see only a little bit, and then when you unlock it, she kicks the trooper out. So that's
Nice, cool.
That's a little fun thing I did there, and yeah, it's such a beautiful piece. And at that time, I don't know if I think I was not that much into collecting that far, but I regretted it. But luckily, our fellow poster posse people, Don and Rebecca, they have a spare one for me, so I definitely will get that one. I'm really looking forward. It should be here in the next year, so might be in time with the new piece we're going to talk about in a second. But how do you connect the two pieces in that way? This is important for the new release as well. So let's talk about that for a second.
So the original piece, the idea with the original piece was I wanted different like story threads being distilled into one image. So the movie is, to a degree, it's a coming of age movie. She's growing up within the film. It's also changing from one location to another in a sense, and location and time as well, to be specified. So you're going from like ancient Greek myth sort of thing, and you come into what for the film is modern age, but it's still for us is World War I and so forth. So all these type of different story threads and so forth, I wanted to distill into one image, and then I wanted a framing device for that. Okay, and I was like, back from days of studying and stuff, doing art history and so forth, I always find it really interesting to research a subject matter or research like a time period. So in this case, like, do I take it from World War I or do I take it from Greek myth and ancient Greece? And I wanted to do ancient Greece. The art styles and the materials that were available to that day were totally different. And then a lot of stories, especially like heroic stories and so forth, are told via a pottery. Whether it's a vase, whether it's a plate. These magnificent stories I told, and it's supposed to be, to stand the test of time because they're on this solid medium. So I wanted that sort of thing on the piece. I wanted to show the past and then breaking out of that, breaking out of the shackles and the molds that have, previously been set for her, and breaking into the modern age.
Yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman is that strong that she kicks somebody into the future.
Yes, yeah. So that was the thing, is there's that one shot at the time when I drew the face. We just had a trailer or so forth, but there's that one shot of her kicking like the Nazi soldier through the window, and that was perfect. Just that sort of the cinematography, the kinetic nature of that shot is like that's perfect. So my piece to a degree from that point of view is based on that one shot as well.
The vase itself, where like is it a certain vase that you actually took as
Yeah.
reference for? Which one is that? Is it a famous one?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, it's not necessarily famous because there's lots of these
Okay.
vases around. They're famous to a degree because there's not so many. I guess they're in museums and so on. But then, yeah, I researched like different vase shapes and so forth because I wanted it to be accurate. I didn't want to make my own sort of thing up. So I researched, going to museum sites and so forth. And there's like, okay, this shape works for me. And then it was like the style of the art that was actually on the vase as well. Okay, what do we need? How was it drawn? How were soldiers and Amazons depicted in these illustrations? So I picked from that as well. So it's fun, it's nice tying in these things from, Greek history, Greek myth, and Greek art into your work. And the funniest thing was when the piece kind of took off and so forth, when we first shared it, it was like I wasn't expecting anything. It was like, hey, I've done another piece, and for me it was like I did the same sort of groundwork that I do on any other piece, you know what I mean, trying to look a little bit deeper than the initial film and the initial trailer. But I started getting like museums following me, PhD students follow me, people that
Nice.
are studying like Greek history and so forth, and say that's great, we love what you did, and they after the fact, a few museums said, we're having a new exhibition for Greek pottery and so forth. Can we use your artwork as part of that? And I was
Damn,
like,
nice.
that's great. So it's like something that crossed over to a degree, and that was like, great, I did the right thing. I did my research, and the people that know about it are appreciating it. So that was a really nice feeling.
How did it turn out? I mean, did you provide them with a print, or
Yeah, well, I
did you
sent
go
them.
to the museum?
No, the museum, I believe at the time it was in Europe anyway. So I was like, okay, I'm more than happy for you to use the artwork, well, part of the artwork for the flyer. So I said like, okay, if you send me that, I'll send you like the sized version, and I like changed it enough so just okay from a usage point of view. So it was mainly about the artwork and just like a crop of Wonder Woman. So that was just nice. Just nice that it was like I work primarily in pop culture. But it's nice when your work kind of transcends that and goes to, I guess, into the mainstream to a degree.
I mean, isn't there in the British Heritage Museum in London? Shouldn't they have like something like that?
They should, yeah. I'm sure
Shouldn't you be in there?
at some point this piece should go in there. I think the gate, because I think it transcends a lot of things. But that'd be nice. Yeah, I'm sure like because this year's been what it is, it'd be nice to actually gone out and seen a bit more of the world. So it would be nice to actually go to a museum and see a lot of ancient Greek pottery and so forth. It'd be nice.
Have you ever been to like Greece or something like that and have seen it?
I've not been to Greece. It is on like the to-do list of places to visit. I've been all over Italy and other parts of Europe. But no, I haven't done Greece yet. So that is definitely on the list. And I think that's partly why like this year and last year being what it was. It's like,
So you came up also with a new poster, obviously, that goes along the lines for the new film, and we're gonna start with the timed edition of this poster. And this poster is it the Colors of Rhodos?
what? Sorry.
The Colors of Rhodos. I don't know what the English term for that is. Like in Rhodos, the big statue, or what is the statue that we can see, or the bust?
So the statue is actually of Athena.
Oh, that's Athena. Oh, yeah, you're
Athena.
right. Now I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like with like the last piece we had, like we were pulling on Greek tradition and Greek myth and so forth, and I wanted to bring that back into this piece as well. I didn't want to like forget what for me made the piece special. So doing my research as well on characters and so forth. So the bust is actually of Athena. Athena is also a daughter of Zeus. She's the goddess of war, wisdom, and crafts. But also, like if you know the film, the cheetah, her name in the film, and always in the comic books, or at least that version of her, is Minerva. Now, if you go back to myth, Athena's name is Athena, but her Roman counterpart is Minerva. So I always thought that was a great, like, whether that initially was what the writers were doing, because cheetah's always been,
an imposter, a cheetah.
Yeah. She's always been like the villain for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So I wonder, and Wonder Woman's always in some form of, some stories as well, has been, attached with Athena or likened to Athena. She's based partly on Athena, also being, a daughter of Zeus. So I thought that was a great little time. So when I was doing my research, it's like, okay, this is Athena and her counterpart is Minerva, and that works really well between the two characters that we have in the film. We've
Mm-hmm.
got we've got Diana, which is based on Athena, and then we've got Minerva, who is like, a villain, but not in myth, but she's her counterpart in the film
Mm-hmm.
with powers and so forth. So I thought that
Yeah.
was a great little crossover. So hence we've got, and both of them, from doing my research, they were both like in a sense born from Zeus, and Minerva's born from Jupiter, who is like
Yeah. Yeah.
Zeus's
The Zeus.
counterpart.
Yeah.
But the way they exploded from his head.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Did not know that. Yeah.
so they were born of his head. They were born fully formed adults in armor and everything else. They
Of
were
course.
born
Yeah.
from leaping out of his head. So that's the other reason why we've got that. We've got that one. It's like
Nice.
art,
Okay.
yeah, art imitating life sort of thing going on with that,
Mm.
and it's like where you've
Is
got
that
those shatters.
in terms? I mean, you did some very great research on it, but how does Minerva look different than Athena? Is there something, or do they look the same, just
They
have
look
different names?
like it depends upon, I guess, on the depiction in a sense through the ages.
Mm-hmm.
But if you type in like Minerva statue or bust, they look very much alike. There's
Okay.
whether it's the helmet and so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
depending on the depiction, they look very similar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Both like with owls and so forth, both goddesses of war, from that point of view. So they're very similar in, I
Yeah.
guess, depictions and art style. So I didn't have to change necessarily anything. The only thing I wanted to do that kind of showed the two facets was, when like she's exploding outside of the figure. So the internal part of the statue is actually leopards, cheetah
Mm-hmm.
skin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for me is like I didn't want to like knock it over someone's head, but it's those connections that
Mm-hmm.
Athena is Minerva, Minerva in this sense is cheetah. So it's those
Yeah.
little things that are part of the wider piece. It's these little
Yeah, I
details.
mean that's some great stuff to look at this. I mean, I think not a lot of people do that many or that much research into mythology. I love
Yeah.
mythology, but I don't know everything. But
Yeah.
that gave me some great new information that I really enjoyed and makes this piece deeper in meaning. And I think
Mm.
that adds to the value. So definitely people should watch this to get to understand the piece even better.
Yeah. I think like because one of the things was like after the first piece and having so many people that have studied history and so forth and museums and so forth, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make sure what I was bringing to it was accurate
Mm-hmm.
because it's like there's a different audience also that this is aimed towards. So I wanted to make sure those links were accurate
Yeah.
for my piece as well.
What was the choice on the rainbow foil here?
Like I was speaking to like originally when I drew it, I didn't draw it on foil, of course. So I was just drawing on paper, and I
Mm.
had the same sort of beige cream color paper that I was
Yeah.
basing it off of from the last piece. Then that was what we were using for initial sign off. And this was going back. Initial sign off was I started work on this late in June,
Mm-hmm.
last year as well. We were getting sign off at February this year. This is when we
Mm.
were looking at final sign off because initially it's like I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know I wanted to do kind of like ape the same design, like the same concept as my previous one. But it's only after I did the research, it's like, yeah, it works. But yeah, I was designing on paper in the same way, but it's like, okay, I want to punch the colors even more so. And I was like, how many screens do I put on this? And I was like, I don't want to just be laying screen after screen just for these little pops of color
Mm.
or different color. So I thought, then I was like, hey, initially it was like, hey, should we do this on like foil, like a silver foil, like have that chrome sort of 80s feel to it. So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, we've got the bust, which is ancient Greece, but hey, the modern age is all chrome and shiny and everything else. Should we do that? Then Joe's like, hey, why don't we punch the colors up and do like a rainbow foil? And I thought that was perfect. I thought, yeah, great. What we have on top of it is still going to stand out, but then we add a lot more depth
Mm-hmm.
to the piece with the rainbow foil. So I thought, perfect. Let's do it on that.
Mm.
So the original idea became, let's have our normal edition all on this rainbow foil.
Okay. How do I get it flipped?
Flipped.
I want them back to back.
Oh, you want them back to back? Oh, you want them so they kind of come out like that? I did think about that, and I was like, shall I do it so it works that way around? But then I thought my 1980 84 piece is going to be
Yeah.
on the opposite side, so it kind of comes before the other piece.
Okay.
If it was originally the other way around, then I would have done it flipped, so it's back to back. But then it works in chronological order, and I thought, okay, that works there. That's gonna give me, I'm not
Okay.
gonna
Okay.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I get the idea. I did think about it at one point, but I thought that's gonna have to sit before it. That doesn't work well for me in the sense how I'd want it. I want it to come afterwards because
Hmm.
it's like a progression of history as well
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
time as like a timeline. But otherwise, yeah. So I thought, okay, let's just try and okay, let's keep it in that same sort of angle and popping out as well.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're going back in time. You like at
yeah, yeah,
least in the
yeah, yeah.
West. At least in the West, we read from left to right, so it should be following that way.
Yeah, you're totally right. I was just looking of like aesthetic sense of having
Yeah,
like displaying them at the on the wall. You
yeah,
know,
like
that,
bookends sort of thing.
yeah,
Yeah. If he ever goes back in time in a future film, I will do a going the other way because
great.
then it'll make sense from the way time in a
But
sense works.
they should, yeah, like time wise, you're totally right. I
Yeah.
would love to see like the bookend style, and then have a third version,
Yeah.
basically coming like right at you.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, you never know. You
Yeah,
never
yeah,
know what
yeah,
we could
yeah.
do future. Yeah. We'll see
Like, or
what the third film brings.
the crazy variant of all of them, all the like different directions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when like test prints come through of this, I'm looking forward to see what the test prints look like because
Yeah.
that's when the printers are just having fun or not having fun, but
Mm.
they're testing stuff out and it's always multiple layers and stuff. So I'm yeah interested to see what that comes out. They're always fun. So
Yeah.
you never know. Could be some one-on-ones there.
Okay, there you go. There you go. That's. I mean, we have seen on the weekend. We have seen the Matt Griffin, Nicholas Mowgli test
Yes,
print that
yeah,
look
those are great.
amazing. Where are those? People
So
want them.
yeah, so when they were doing, I haven't got it personally. I should have
Yeah.
asked for it, but when they were doing test prints of the original Wonder Woman piece, they
Mm.
did it with Dan Mumford,
Mm.
and I know Dan, and Dan's a great guy, and it's
Yeah.
like, hey, great, this is our love child, Dan. This is what our work would look like if we collaborated. So it was a nice little fun thing at the time just to see two
Mm.
pieces that came out at the same time laid on top of each other.
Yeah.
So
You should also do the Matt Ferguson approach here and tell the printers, I need that. People
I'm
get that to
gonna,
me. Yeah.
yeah, I've learned since then, and I was like, yeah, and speaking with Matt on our last chat, and it's like, yeah, I should ask for these. These are great. So I'm gonna like when they go off to print, when
Mm.
the edition closes, I'm gonna ask if you got any test prints. Can I get those as well? Because they're always great to have. They in some ways because they're a unique take on your work by someone else. They're always special to have.
Exactly. The size again is 18 by 24 for
Yes.
this print, and so it fits perfectly with the first version. And I hope this is gonna sell out quick in terms of the plate and the variant. The variant is
Yeah.
not the rainbow foil. The timed edition will be the rainbow foil version, and it starts on Wednesday, so Christmas
Christmas
in
Eve.
Germany, Christmas Eve in
Yeah,
Germany, yeah.
Christmas Eve. We're going. The film comes out
But is it?
like
You said Wednesday because Christmas Eve is, or is it the twenty
I believe
fourth?
it's Christmas Eve. Whatever
Okay.
it's 24th. It's coming
Yeah,
out.
it's Thursday.
Sorry.
It's Thursday.
Yeah. Sorry, Thursday. Yeah, comes out Christmas Eve, 24th.
Mhm.
Yeah. So and the film comes out in a sense for worldwide release fully on Christmas Day. So it's
Exactly.
nice timing from that point of view.
How's it in the UK? Do they have HBO Max figured out now?
No, we don't have that. I think that's just because there's different deals around the world, and HBO or Warner works
Yeah, yeah,
differently.
yeah. Same here.
So it's like HBO Max doesn't exist here, but there's like you can get a lot of HBO programming via Sky and so forth. So I'm expecting it. They haven't announced anything, but I'm expecting at some point in the new year via them. I've been lucky enough to watch the film already.
Oh, you have?
I saw it last
Get
week.
out of here.
I haven't spoken about it because I don't do spoilers and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't spoilers, but yeah.
No spoilers. But I got to watch the film last week, which is cool.
I saw the press. The couple of people got press screeners, so I.
Yeah. So it's fun to be able to do that and see the film. And it's like, whenever you do a piece prior to the film, and in most scenarios, we're always doing, whether it's for the studios or private, it's either based off the trailers or so forth. So you take a little from that and you try and fill in the gaps yourself, and then you hope it makes sense afterwards.
Are you satisfied with that result?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that whether I dreamt them up or I like picked from the trailer in a sense when we finally got to see a trailer at that point that kind of work with the piece and the overall film and the theme. I think especially with like the relationship with Kristen Wiig's Cheetah and stuff like that, and they do go back into like, I'm not spoiling it because they've released that footage already. They do go back to Themyscira and they do show the past in a sense. They do talk more about Greek myth, but also Rome and so forth. So the whole thing with Minerva and everything else makes sense.
Okay, that's great. And but still, since I do movie reviews and like talk about
Yes.
movies as well, can you give us at least like a rating from 0 to 10? What would you give the
Ooh,
film?
hard. I'm always hard with ratings because it's like a
I know.
definitive thing.
Yeah,
It's
I don't want to like because actually I would say yeah. Let me know what you like and what you don't like about the
yeah.
movie, so you have like a good
I'll
explanation
give
on
you
it.
like I'll give you a little like not synopsis, but I'll give you a little like breakdown from what I like. I enjoyed like it reminds me a lot, and I know some people have said this previously as well, but it
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of like Superman, but it's like Christopher Reeve's Superman
Mm-hmm.
because they both kind of set in the 80s. They really, I think, nail that sort of thing. It is a superhero story of that time and era in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. Um, so it's got a lot of hope to it. The color palette is amazing to so be able to see it on the big screen was great. You know, I mean, I think it's the best way to appreciate it. So there's a lot of like from me as from a childhood point of view, it was like going back in time as well to
Mm-hmm.
watching a film from then. So that's great. There's a lot of little, I think I would say they're nods to that era and that universe. Even though it's the new DC universe, I
Yeah.
think there's things that so it does a lot of things right from that view. From a film point of view, I think it builds upon what the original did. It definitely
Mm-hmm.
takes it further. With any film, there might be things that me personally I would change and do little things
Of
slightly
course, yeah.
differently. But that's always the case. There's never a perfect film that I've ever seen. There's always being a creative as well. You always want to mold it in your own vision.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of great stuff happening, and I think because of the delays that it's had,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of in some ways means a lot more coming out this year. When you finally watch it and watch like I would say the third act of the film,
Okay.
it definitely means a lot more now than it would have a year ago.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
there's a lot of interesting stuff there. I don't want to say anything beyond that because I don't want to spoil
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's interesting watching it this year as opposed to last year. So
Okay. So it's isn't she like a scientist or something?
yeah, she works she
Yeah.
works in
So
a museum.
I
There's
think
that was the thing. It's like she works in a museum, and like I'm basing some of my work on the historical side of things. So it's great seeing some of those things crop up in the film because of this
great.
museum scenes and stuff like that. So I was like, oh great, I mean, there's a place for my piece in the story I'm telling because
Hmm.
one of the things I was thinking is like, hey, shall I just do loads of TV sets? You know what I mean? Because like 80s and everything else, and the film being partly
Yeah.
about media, and we've seen it with like Max Lord and Pedro Pascal.
Hmm.
He sort of thing. Should I do loads of TV screens and her bursting out of the TV? And I thought that's great, but I've lost everything of the history that the character's about.
Yeah, I think it's even cooler. I mean,
Yeah,
taking this the history route and like
yeah.
the
I wanted to
actually
keep
thinking
that.
about the past. You know.
Yeah, I wanted to keep that aspect within the film and not lose that because otherwise that would have been the easy go-to for me
Mm.
because build it fully 80s and forget about that side of the past. But I'm glad I kept it rooted in that sort of thing, the history side.
All right. Okay, so as I said again, people go over to Bottleneck and check out all the great releases that come this week in timed edition of the Wonder Woman 84 poster on rainbow foil. Then we have also the variant edition, which will have. Do you know how many the
We're
variant
having a
will be?
small edition, so the variant actually on this one is actually going to be on paper.
Yeah.
So we're having a very small number on paper. I believe it's only going to be 100 on paper.
Okay, people.
So
So use
yeah,
your chance. Grab them while you can.
yeah,
It's definitely worth it. And yeah, Doaly, thank you for coming on and talking us through this. And it's yeah, I always have to say it's like really great to have like artists on and talk about their work and like what their thought process behind it is. And I really love talking to you, man, because you put so much effort in it, and like you can hear this in the talk. So I think a lot of people would appreciate this, and it's definitely worth more to me now than it was than just looking at it and not knowing
yeah,
all the facts.
yeah. Knowing the backstory, it kind of blends in. And it's like, yeah, I think when people see the film as well, that'll help within the process. I think it's great that it's timed so close to the film as well. So I hope people get to see both things at the same time.
Exactly, guys. Okay, so tune in and follow us on the social media at on Instagram at _Doaly, and or if you type in Doaly, you find them everywhere.
Yes.
And yeah, DropMag Official is my Instagram, so people follow us at just DropMag on YouTube for the YouTube channel, so you can see all the goodness that we just talked about. And yeah, this is it, people, and I'll see you maybe in the next year. I don't know if it's going to be one more talk after this one in this year, but yeah, we will know. We will see soon. Okay, guys, take care.
Cheers. Thanks, man.